Welcome to Cryptonic Events, your go-to source for the latest updates, insights, and analysis on the world of cryptocurrencies. Whether you're a seasoned investor or just starting out, our channel is here to provide you with valuable information and perspectives on the most exciting developments in the crypto space. From Bitcoin and Ethereum to emerging altcoins and DeFi projects, we'll cover it all with in-depth reviews, expert interviews, and market analysis. We believe that cryptocurrencies are the future of finance, and we're committed to bringing you the most reliable and informative content to help you navigate this exciting and rapidly evolving landscape. So, if you're looking to stay ahead of the curve and gain a better understanding of the crypto world, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to never miss a new video. Thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to exploring the world of cryptocurrencies together. Let's get started. News. SEC brings suit against owner of Bittorrent Incorporated and settles claims with celebrity endorsers of certain crypto tokens. On March 22, 2023, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, filed a complaint in U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York against Justin Sun, the owner of Bittorrent Incorporated, a file-sharing platform, three of his wholly owned companies, and musicians Austin Mahone and Soulja Boy. It alleged violations of the Exchange Act and Securities Act related to the crypto asset tokens TRONIX, TRX, and Bittorrent, BTT. The SEC alleged that Sun, 1, offered and sold these tokens without registering them with the SEC, 2, manipulated the price of these tokens with fake trades to foster an impression of market activity, and 3, engaged in a scheme to pay celebrities including Mahone and Soulja Boy to promote TRX and BTT on social media without disclosing that they were paid promoters. The SEC reached settlements of similar claims against other celebrity promoters, including Lindsay Lohan, Jake Paul, and Akon. Under these settlements, the celebrities agreed to cease and desist from endorsing crypto securities for 3 years and paid more than $400,000 in civil penalties and disgorgement. These deals follow the SEC's earlier settlement with Kim Kardashian for her undisclosed paid promotion of crypto assets. SEC Chair Gary Gensler continues to warn celebrities against promoting digital securities given the high risk investors face when crypto asset securities are offered and sold without proper disclosure. Court of Chancery grants summary judgment holding officer exculpation charter amendment does not require a class vote of the company's non-voting stock. On March 29, 2023, an Electrical Workers Pension Fund, Local 103, IBWV LaFox Corporation, CA number 2022-1007 JTL, Delegate CH March 29, 2023, the Delaware Court of Chancery held that a vote of all classes of stock is not required to amend governing documents to exculpate officers. This ruling has the potential to impact voting requirements for dual-class companies for all manner of corporate governance votes beyond the specific officer exculpation at issue. This opinion follows amendments to the Delaware General Corporation Law, DGCL, in August 2022 that enabled companies to adopt corporate bylaws that provide officers exculpation from liability for certain breaches of the fiduciary duty of care, similar to the exculpation already permitted for directors of Delaware corporations. After Fox Corporation and Snap Incorporated approved charter amendments to exculpate officers without a class vote of non-voting shareholders in November 2022 sued both companies for improperly denying their voting rights in violation of DGCL Section 242. In relevant part, Section 242 provides that each class of shareholders whose powers, preferences, or special rights will be adversely affected by a proposed charter amendment shall be entitled to vote as a class on that proposed amendment. The plaintiffs challenged the validity of the amendments under Section 242 on the grounds that neither corporation solicited their votes even though the proposed amendments plainly adversely affected their shareholders' rights, i.e., by depriving their ability to sue the officers for the now exculpated conduct. Vice Chancellor James Travis Laster rejected the claim on the basis that Section 242 entitles shareholders to vote as a class only if the proposed amendment adversely affects a power or right that is expressly set forth in the operative charter or the DGCL. Accordingly, the court granted summary judgment for Fox Corporation and Snap Incorporated, holding that the proposed amendments did not adversely affect a power, preference, or special right of non-voting shareholders that appears expressly in the charter, and that, other than Section 327's ownership requirement for derivative claims, the DGCL says nothing about the power to sue. Delaware Court of Chancery finds CEO and acquirer liable in paradigmatic Revlon case. On March 15, 2023, Chancellor Kathleen St. J. McCormick of the Delaware Court of Chancery issued a post-trial ruling on a paradigmatic Revlon claim arising out of an all-cash acquisition of Mindbody Incorporated, Mindbody, by Vista Equity Partners Management, LLC, Vista. The court found that the chief executive officer of Mindbody, Richard Stallmeyer, faced disabling conflicts of interest and breached his fiduciary duties to shareholders by skewing the sales process in favor of Vista despite the board's express instructions to run a clean process. The court also found that Stallmeyer and Vista failed to disclose the full extent of the conflict in the proxy material soliciting the shareholder vote. The defendants were jointly and severally liable for damages of $1 per share of Mindbody stock, the price that, according to the court's review of the record, Vista would have paid to acquire Mindbody but for the undisclosed conflict. As an all-cash change of control transaction, the Mindbody sale was subject to enhanced scrutiny under the Revlon standard. Stallmeyer's conduct fell far short of his Revlon duty to pursue the best transaction reasonably available to the company's shareholders. Among Stallmeyer's significant conflicts, all of which were undisclosed to the Mindbody board, were his personal need for liquidity at the time of the sale, his expectation of post-merger employment, and significant equity-based incentives if Vista was the buyer. The court also found that Stallmeyer concealed from the board interactions with and tips to Vista, which violated the neutrality guidelines that the board had issued to cabin management's communications with potential bidders. Because Stallmeyer effectively greased the wheels of the sale transaction, the court continued, Vista was able to make a firm offer to buy Mindbody before any competing acquirers could undertake diligence necessary to submit their own offers. Stallmeyer frustrated the value-maximizing process that Revlon demands by prioritizing his personal interests that would be served by a Vista acquisition rather than pursuing a process likely to provide the best outcome for Mindbody's shareholders. The court also found that Vista reviewed the proxy materials and thus had knowledge of the conflicted interactions between Vista and the CEO but failed to correct the proxy materials to include a full and fair description of Vista's interactions with Stallmeyer. As a result of the disclosure deficiencies, the court rejected the defendant's argument that the deal should be scrutinized under the more forgiving business judgment rule standard because it was approved by a fully informed, uncoerced majority of disinterested stockholders, commonly referred to as Corwin cleansing. Even a single disclosure deficiency will defeat Corwin cleansing, and in this case, the court found multiple deficiencies in the Mindbody proxy. Federal court dismisses House of Cards complaint against Life Sciences Company. The U.S. District Court for the District of Massachusetts dismissed a securities fraud class action complaint against Biogen Incorporated, Biogen, and some of its current and former executives, alleging that they made false and misleading statements about the commercialization of Aduhelm, a drug for Alzheimer's disease. The plaintiffs challenged 5 categories of allegedly fraudulent statements concerning the commercialization of Aduhelm. The court dismissed the complaint entirely, finding it to be replete with misrepresentation, and mischaracterizations of the defendant's statements. One group of challenged misstatements related to Biogen's disclosure that 900 healthcare sites were ready to implement Aduhelm upon FDA approval. The plaintiffs claimed those statements were fraudulent because many of the 900 sites lacked the facilities, infrastructure, and/or personnel necessary for the drug's administration. The court brushed that theory aside because the complaint alleged no more than that many sites were not ready at the time of the statements, but critically failed to allege which sites were at issue and did not otherwise quantify the scope of the purported inaccuracies or discrepancies in the statements. The court also dismissed the challenge to corporate statements regarding pharmacy and therapeutics, P&T, reviews of the 900 sites, ruling that the claims themselves rested on an unjustifiably broad interpretation of the actual public statements. The plaintiffs alleged that the statements were fraudulent because P&T reviews are essential for the prescription of new treatments. As the court interpreted them, however, the challenged statements merely indicated that the 900 sites had expressed a willingness to treat patients with an innovative treatment for Alzheimer's disease. Contrary to the plaintiffs' allegations, the statements did not constitute a representation that all of the sites would have prescribed Aduhelm. The lesson here is that liability under the securities laws in the first instance turns of the honesty of what was actually disclosed, not some broader meaning that plaintiffs' counsel may extract or imply from the actual words. The court also ruled that the complaint failed to plead scienter for 2 principal reasons. First, some of the challenged statements were by low-ranking former Biogen employees, which is no basis to sue individual defendants who did not supervise the low-rankers. Second, the court ruled that the plaintiffs failed to plead that the individual defendants even had direct knowledge of an internal assessment of launch readiness, which was a critical pleading failure because plaintiffs based their scienter theory on those defendants' supposed knowledge of that assessment. And from there the court rejected the familiar fraud by hindsight, pleading that later revelations about facility readiness somehow must have meant that defendants were aware of the adverse information at the time the earlier statements were made. Price prediction. Bittorrent price today is 6.498 times 10 to the power of negative $7 with a 24-hour trading volume of $12.80 million, market cap of $618.20 million, and market dominance of 0.05%. The BTT price decreased minus 1.97% in the last 24 hours. Bittorrent price forecast based on technical analysis. Based on data from April 27, 2023 at 1833, the general Bittorrent price prediction sentiment is neutral, with 16 technical analysis indicators signaling bullish signals and 11 signaling bearish signals. BTT price prediction was last updated on April 27, 2023 at 1833. Bittorrent key price levels. Based on today's classical pivot point, P1, with the value of 6.560 times 10 to the power of negative $7, Bittorrent has support levels of 6.455 times 10 to the power of negative $7, 6.380 times 10 to the power of negative $7, and the strongest at 6.275 times 10 to the power of negative $7. Similarly, Bittorrent resistance levels are at 6.634 times 10 to the power of negative $7, 6.739 times 10 to the power of negative $7, and 6.813 times 10 to the power of negative $7. Bittorrent reached its highest price on January 20, 2022 when it was trading at its all-time high of $0.00003431. While Bittorrent's lowest price was recorded on March 11, 2023 when it was trading at its all-time low of 5.877 times 10 to the power of negative $7. The lowest price since its ADH was 5.877 times 10 to the power of negative $7, cycle low. The highest BTT price since the last cycle low was 9.093 times 10 to the power of negative $7, cycle high. The Bittorrent price prediction sentiment is currently bearish, while Fear and Greed Index is showing 59, greed. Bittorrent's current circulating supply is 951.42 TBTT out of max supply of 990.00 TBTT. The current yearly supply inflation rate is 2.69%, meaning 24.90 TBTT were created in the last year. In terms of market cap, Bittorrent is currently ranked number 2 in the Tron network sector. Bittorrent is currently trading below the 200-day simple moving average, SMA. The 200-day SMA has been signaling sell for the last 7 days, since April 20, 2023. The price of Bittorrent is currently below the 50-day SMA, and this indicator has been signaling sell for the last 2 days, since April 25, 2023. The most recent death cross in the Bitcoin market happened 263 days ago, on August 7, 2022. Based on our technical indicators, Bittorrent's 200-day SMA will drop in the next month and will hit 6.807 times 10 to the power of negative $7 by May 27, 2023. Bittorrent's short-term 50-day SMA is estimated to hit 6.654 times 10 to the power of negative $7 by May 27, 2023. The Relative Strength Index, RSI, momentum oscillator is a popular indicator that signals whether a cryptocurrency is oversold, below 30, or overbought, above 70. Currently, the RSI value is at 53.49, which indicates that the BTT market is in a neutral position. According to our current Bittorrent price prediction, the value of Bittorrent is predicted to rise by 4.28% and reach 6.775 times 10 to the power of negative $7 by May 2, 2023. According to our technical indicators, the current sentiment is neutral while the Fear and Greed Index is showing 59, greed. Bittorrent recorded 20/30ths, 67%, green days with 2.57% price volatility over the last 30 days. Based on our Bittorrent forecast, it's now a good time to buy Bittorrent. Comparing Bittorrent against other important technological innovations and trends is one way of predicting where the Bittorrent price could head over the long term. The table above shows what the Bittorrent price would be by end of year 2024, 2025, and 2026 if its growth trajectory followed the growth of the internet, or large tech companies like Google and Facebook in their growth phase. In the best case scenario, BTT price prediction for year 2026 is $0.00002391 if it follows Facebook growth. In case Bittorrent would follow internet growth, the prediction for 2026 would be $0.00002743. Disclaimer: the opinion expressed here is not investment advice, it is provided for informational purposes only. It does not necessarily reflect the opinion of Cryptonic events. Every investment and all trading involves risk, so you should always perform your own research prior to making decisions. We do not recommend investing money you cannot afford to lose. Thank you for watching today's video on Cryptonic events. We hope you found it informative and engaging. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. We always appreciate your feedback and will do our best to respond to as many comments as we can. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to stay up to date on our latest content. And if you enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family who might be interested in the exciting world of cryptocurrencies. As always, we'll continue to bring you the most relevant and reliable information on the crypto market. We're excited to have you as part of our community, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video. Thank you again for watching and have a great day.